our first advanced dynamic stretch, the lunge rotation. This is our first variation. Here we see the client steps into a long lunging position, places the same elbow as the knee that is down into the instep of the knee, then rotates the chest and opens up with the arm going towards the knee that is down and opening up through the chest. So elbow into the instep, opening up through the chest. Back to the middle, and the client will then step forward again, put the opposite elbow into the instep, and then rotate through the same side as that knee. Lunge rotation 2, so the second variation here is just a step and a thoracic rotation each way. So nice and simple, step forward into a lunge, thoracic rotation, and again. Our next advanced stretch here is a knee hug with calf raise. So here the client is pulling the knee up into the chest, and with the opposite leg they are performing a calf raising type movement. So from the side on, we can see the client grabs the knee, pulls it up to the chest, and goes onto the opposite calf with the calf raise. Our next stretch is a deep squat with thoracic rotation. So the client gets into a deep squatting position, places the elbows into the knees, and then opens up through the chest, stretching out, rotating through the thoracic region, and the head rotating to the side as well. Really good upper and lower body mobility exercise. Here we have a leg cradle, working through the glutes here. So the client is lifting up under the ankle and pulling the leg up, stretching out through the glute. All of these exercises we're looking at performing 1 to 2 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. We could also be performing these exercises in a dynamic type movement where we're walking forwards for a 10 or 15 or 20 meter distance as well. So here we have a backwards roll into a hamstring stretch. Client rolls back, knees to the chest, rolls forward, and goes into a hamstring stretch. So this is more of a dynamic movement. Client rolling and then stretching out with the double hamstring stretch there. The iron cross, much like a lower back stretch, except we're making it dynamic here, where the leg is going across over the body, keeping the shoulders down at the same time, and trying to bring the leg to the opposite hand with the opposite shoulder staying flat on the ground, stretching out through the lower back region. A similar exercise here, but done in a prone position. Here we have a scorpion. So keeping the arms down, keeping the chest down, the legs coming over the back and going over the back and upwards towards the hands, stretching out through that lower back and glute region. Here we have our body exercise for T push-ups. So just a normal push-up motion with a thoracic rotation added in at the end of the push-up. So pushing up and then thoracic rotation with one hand going above the head. Again, we're looking at about 8 to 12, 10 to 12 repetitions here, 1 to 2 sets. Here we have an IYT exercise, working through the rotator cuff muscles as well as stabilizing the scapula. Really good for upper body exercises, or prior to performing upper body exercise, I should say. So the client goes through an I, then a Y motion, then a T. So once again, performs an I, a Y, and then a T, a nice strong hip hinge position. We then have an arabesque, which is working through hamstring flexibility. Client drives the knee forward, straightens the leg back out the side, touches the ground or moves towards the ground with one arm, and really stretches out through that hamstring of the leg which is grounded. Another hamstring exercise here, more of a bilateral movement. So what we see here is the client gets into a push-up position, they walk forward, and they walk with straight legs as far as they can into their hands and then walk outwards. So really good for hamstring flexibility. It's important the client keeps the knees as straight as possible and avoids bending them to really work through the hamstrings there. Next exercise we have is a lateral lunge. So working through the adductors, so the client will step to one side, lean into it, lean back again, come back to the middle. Really working through stretching and mobilizing the adductor region through there. And again, we can see nice long step and pushing either side into the movement. Here we have a cook squat, so a little bit more complicated. The client goes down with a straight leg position, puts the elbows into the knees, arms over the head, and squats up. So again, hamstring stretch down to the floor, sit into a squat, elbows into knees, arms overhead, squat through the movement towards the top. Really good full body mobility type movement. We obviously get ankle mobility work, hip, hamstring mobility, but also thoracic overhead mobility as well, with the arms going up overhead to perform the movement. Spider-Man push-ups, so normal push-up position, but we have one leg coming to the opposite elbow. Nice sort of multi-plane movement here, working through the upper body and lower body mobility. Here we have power scripts, so more of a movement-based exercise. So nice, big, strong jumps, getting as high as possible. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Very much potentiation exercise to really get the body warmed up for high-intensity exercises. Same thing with ankle hops. Really good if we're doing plyometrics or anything explosive before we do them. Just really trying to get that stretch shortening cycle to be switched on, getting that real quick ground reaction time. Double leg jumps, again, really good way to warm up before an explosive type exercise session. Really working through your forwards jumps and getting as high and as far as possible. We can do that again, make it even harder with a single leg hop, just to really make sure that each leg is ready to go for an explosive type movement. So these are advanced dynamic exercises. They can be completed in a specific warm-up for 10 to 12 repetitions, 1 to 2 sets.